this might be a tough decision right now.
My team did
not just
absolutely
Some
garbage.
NFL games that were like,
Right.
whoa. I actually don't
Had
understand.
a lot of mixed feelings.
Welcome to Scrum Toad. We have another guest here on the League of the Wings.
Doing the metronome.
Metrodome. We are sponsored by Red Bull and
Not true. Why do you say this every time?
Ginger ale, Schweppes.
We're just giving him free advertisement.
Because they help. Schweppes helped me through an illness, so I can advertise.
Schweppes?
Schweppes.
How'd that help you through an illness?
Because it's ginger ale. It helped me with my sore throat.
Is that a thing?
Yeah. Like the carbonation and everything.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I would just for me, I need a lot of vitamin C when I'm sick. So I just get like a lot of orange juice. Electrolytes can help sometimes as well, but that's like more like after you're sick and you're just trying to get yourself back.
Yeah.
Back to feeling like energized.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I drink a lot of ginger ale and Gatorade. But yeah, let's jump into this. You can jump in.
No, I don't want to actually.
Well, okay. So we're going to do a little bit of a different thing where I chose 4, Titus chose 4 teams to talk about, and we chose 2 brief teams to talk about to kind of shorten these podcasts up. So we're not going to be talking about every single game in depth, but the 4 that we choose, we will be talking in depth. I have it up on the screen now, hopefully. So the first brief game that we're going to talk about just shortly is Baltimore Tampa Bay.
Yeah, so this started the week. This was a Thursday night football game between 2 kind of underwhelming teams that both needed like a pretty good statement win. But at the end of the day, the winning team was Baltimore. Lamar Jackson won that pretty. I don't think he did anything crazy, but it was a pretty decent win from him. And he had that moment towards the end where, the fan threw the sign down that said, "Pay Lamar Jackson," and he held it up and waved it, and then he signed it. So that was his statement there, and Tom Brady didn't get his, and I think Tampa Bay looked really bad, and then they did nothing at the trade deadline. So that's rough.
Yeah, Tom Brady is not looking like himself. He had a 59.1 completion percentage, 325 yards and a touchdown, 89 rating. That sounds like a pretty good game, but comparatively to Tom Brady, that's not too good. Yeah, it's just a slow start for Buccaneers, and this is the worst start that I've seen a Tom Brady-led team. So maybe he should have stayed in retirement. Yeah, it's just interesting. Ravens are on a roll. They're on a much-needed win streak after kind of struggling off the season, and hopefully Lamar gets paid.
Yeah, then we got on Sunday. I had a game that I thought was very interesting all the way through because it was the last game I expected to actually be thrilled by. I don't know if it was the highest scoring, but it definitely was the closest shootout. I mean, if you want to call it that we had. It came down to an overtime field goal, and it was between Atlanta Falcons and the Carolina Panthers. Carolina Panthers shocked everyone last week when they beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers convincingly, and a lot of that came down to Deontay Foreman, who also had another amazing game, literally back-to-back 118-yard rushing yard games, the exact number. But this time he also had 2 touchdowns on top of it. So, or 3. 2 or 3, I don't know. But what matters the most about that is that they have offensive power there still, even without Christian McCaffrey, even without Robbie Anderson, and down to basically their 3rd-string quarterback in PJ Walker. He's doing work.
He is. That last throw, I think that was a deep bomb that kind of helped. I think, was that to tie the game? I forget the situation.
It was, I don't know. Was it to tie the game? It could have been to win the game had they gotten the extra point.
Oh, yeah. So it was to win the game that they got in the extra point. And the only reason why I started to kind of pay attention to this and look at the highlights was because Titus, he was texting me and he was like, "Holy shit, this what you said earlier too was, wow, I wasn't expecting this game to be such a close game and to be this exciting." And I was like, wow, I wasn't even paying attention because I think it was in the same time slot that the Eagles game was. And I was I switched around and was watching it, and it was just a crazy finale. And yeah, I wanted to pick up Foreman in fantasy, but in both of the freaking leagues that I wanted to pick him up, he was already swooped after that first game. He's having a tremendous couple of games. That reminds me of Rashad Penny to the end last year. We kind of went on that unexpected kind of spree where he had like over 130 yards. This is kind of reminiscent of that. And just imagine if the Panthers had a couple pieces. I feel like kind of how their style of play the past couple of years, it's just that they're a quarterback away from doing something, or like maybe a couple other offensive pieces. But yeah, they couldn't get it done this time, and the Falcons remain mediocre at 4-4. 4-4.
Yeah, they actually upgraded. They're now in, at .500. They're getting to the point where I think they're actually leading the division now.
That's crazy to think about.
And all for the record, I didn't pick up D'Onta Foreman after his first start last week. It was actually as soon as Christian McCaffrey got traded, because I knew.
Damn.
I knew.
I wish I had that intelligence, that football intelligence.
That football IQ, baby.
That fantasy football IQ.
Yeah, Kyle Pitts finally got like a pretty decent fantasy game in there as well. But other than that, I don't think like Atlanta did anything like crazy. Like I think it was like well distributed amongst their offensive players, whereas like Carolina leaned heavily on D'Onta Foreman and DJ Moore, of course. Because can you really even name any of the other players other than PJ Walker on that offense?
No.
I can only name one other, and it's Chuba Hubbard.
Oh yeah, I do remember him from last year. I can't remember anyone else.
But yeah, any other receiver? No, don't care.
Don't really care if it's not DJ Moore.
Yeah, exactly. DJ Moore had a lot of interest at the trade deadline, but he remains in Carolina. Maybe if they end up with a really good pick, he could, get like a Stroud. I don't know. That could be a cool combination. We'll find out. But let's go on to this next game.
So we got Dallas and Chicago. Dallas absolutely abbreviated. Didn't say that. That sounded weird when I said that word. I'm going to choose a different word. They completely destroyed the Chicago Bears.
Would you like me to say it?
Yeah.
Obliterated.
There we go.
Would you like me to spell it? Like it's a spelling bee. Put it in a sentence. Sing it in a song.
O-B.
Wait, can you?
No.
I was curious. Can you spell obliterated? Let's see how close.
Okay. O-B-E-R.
No, already are wrong. Obliterated.
O-B-D?
No, obliterated. Sound it out. Sound it out first.
Oh. Well, okay, I pronounced it as with a V to begin with.
Obliterated?
Yeah, that's how I originally said it.
It's with an L. O-B-L.
Oh, O-B-L.
Obliterated.
T-E-R.
Wait, sorry. Start from the beginning again.
O-B-L-T?
No, it's okay.
Yeah.
All right. That would be crazy. That's like 3 consonants in a row. Damn.
I failed the spelling in 2nd grade. Thank you.
Sums up all Eagles fans when they talk about the Cowboys. They're just like, blah, 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 we won Super Bowl 2017, bro. No, I'm joking. I'm sorry.
God damn it, I quit. I had enough of this buffoonery. All I do is just mock the Eagles all day. I had enough of it. No,
yeah. Shout out to Eagles fans. Love them all.
No, I don't.
Caleb, I do. I really do. I'm so glad I live in Philadelphia because they're passionate about their sports. And if I was living in some city like fucking, I don't even fucking know. Let's make up some random city.
Charlotte.
Like Indianapolis. Like, I would not have... I'm joking.
I was going to say Indianapolis, but I didn't want to be mean.
Yeah, no. That's my joke.
What about Charlotte?
Charlottesville?
Is that...
Like South Carolina?
Yeah.
So there's Charlotte in North Carolina, but then Charlottesville in South Carolina.
Charlotte in North Carolina.
I mean... what do they have going for them? They have UNC, good basketball, I guess.
I feel like that's about it.
Well, I mean, Carolina Panthers. But, I mean, that's kind of shared between the Carolinas. It's not very, like, Charlotte.
I feel like they're more, like, beach vibes kind of state. They don't really
They also
like
have
sports.
Hornets.
Oh, yeah.
LaMelo Ball. Once he's healthy, get him going.
Championship.
This has nothing to do with Dallas Cowboys and the Chicago Bears, but Dallas obliterated Chicago. But it was still very high scoring. Like, Chicago still put up 29, and I think Justin Fields, against the best defense in the league,
He scored more points than the Eagles.
yeah, I think a very respectable performance.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's two straight games against two really high caliber defenses that he's had those games. Is he like starting to... Now he's got Chase Claypool at the deadline?
I think he's for real.
I don't like Chase Claypool, though. I hope he fails.
Yeah, that was way too much for Chase Claypool. Why are you giving him a second?
You know what's funny?
What's that?
The rumor is that the Packers also offered a second for him.
Yeah.
But since the Steelers felt like the Bears would have a higher second, they took that one because they think the Bears are going to end up with a lower standing. But at the current state of the league, they're the same record. So it'd be really funny if they ended up wrong.
Please be wrong, because fuck the Steelers. That'll be so funny. And how do you do my man dirty like that in Rodgers? I guess they're thinking too is that if Rodgers had Chase Claypool, then they would perform better and then get a better seeding with Chase. Not better seeding, but yeah, better placement in the draft. Or lower.
Yeah, that's what they're.
That's
what they wanted.
Yeah.
But also, what I think is interesting is, as bad as Rodgers' receivers are, Justin Fields is worse. So I think as much as like people wanted the Packers to make a move, like Justin Fields really needed this. But I think he needs a better offensive lineman, probably more so. But still, this was a decent first step. It'll give us an idea of what you can do with a decent, like just an average room. Just give him an average room.
Yeah.
Let's see what he can do.
I think Chase Claypool is a good fit. It's just I don't think he was worth a second. What overall? I think he was like highest third. I would take a fourth for him. But yeah, he in an average room, he's really good. But yeah, I just wanted to say about this game too is Dallas's offense looks scary and they're on a roll. The Bears made it really close at one point. I think it was 28-24, and I was like, it would be so funny if the Cowboys lost to the Bears. That would make the perfect weekend. But Pollard looks like a true number one running back. I think he had 2 or 3 rushing touchdowns. I think it was 2. And they were pretty long as well.
Yeah, they really don't need Ezekiel anymore unless Pollard gets injured.
Yeah.
Like, that's how it feels now.
It's crazy to think about. And crap, I forget their one worthless linebacker's name.
Parsons?
Yeah, Parsons. He had a
That's hilarious.
He had a fumble recovery for a touchdown, which was a pretty good highlight towards this at the end of the second half, or towards the end of the game. But yeah, I just wanted to, say my qualms about that game. But yeah, we can move on to.
Well, what I will say to finish that one up is, Chicago did trade their second best defender before this, and now at the deadline, their first best defender is now also gone, Roquan Smith. And
I forgot about that.
I felt like Roquan's foot was already kind of out the door at this point in this game. It didn't seem like he was very invested now that his like best friend or like his number 2 was gone. So I feel like this defense is kind of just going to let up a lot of points no matter what. Defense is just kind of, they're on full sell mode with that defense for whatever reason. I don't think they need to be, but it just doesn't seem like the spirit is there amongst those veterans, so I guess I understand that.
The Bears has been busy before the trade deadline. 3 big trades.
Yeah, they actually have been. Definitely a big proponent of why the trade deadline was the biggest of the year, biggest of the league's history. Most trades on the trade deadline day, in 10. So yeah, pretty crazy. What I will now move on to is Philadelphia.
Wait, what about Miami and Detroit?
Oh, wow. I completely skipped that one. Yeah, you're right. We can talk about that one first.
Yeah.
Miami did, in fact, beat the Detroit Lions, but it was pretty close. Detroit Lions got off to a pretty hot start, and the Lions came back and won it. Again, another instance where Detroit has this winnable game, but then the losses just keep stacking up and they don't know how to close. And there's also Miami, so once they get rolling, they're just kind of unstoppable. Tyreek Hill had an insane performance that was only overshadowed by the fact that he didn't get a touchdown, and Jalen Waddle got 2. So that duo, we've said it so many times this season, insane, unfair. And now the team only got better because they got Bradley Chubb.
That team is so scary, and they have...
And Jeff Wilson.
Oh, fuck, I forgot about them. Damn, God damn. They've also been busy at the trade deadline. I forgot about Jeff Wilson. But, yeah, I just wanted to bring up this game due to that duo because they've had 16,000 yards, which breaks a record from the most in an 8-game stretch. 1,600 total receiving yards between Waddle and Tyreek, which is the most in an 8-game stretch.
And also,
for the first game, 8.
Let's just remind ourselves, Tua wasn't always there this season.
Yeah.
He was basically out like 2 or 3. So it's insane that this receiving duo is that consistent. And I am so blessed. I really am to have Tyreek Hill in fantasy.
Me too.
It is the biggest blessing of all time.
I just wish I had him in our league and not you, so that I could be tearing it up. But it's crazy because 4 games he had over 150 yards. First game was against the Ravens, 11 receptions, 190 yards, 2 touchdowns. Second game was against the Bengals, 10 receptions, 160 yards. Third game was against the Vikings, 12 receptions, 177 yards. Fourth game was against the Lions, 12 receptions, 188 yards. So that's just to have one of those games in a singular season for any player would be incredible. Let alone 4. We're only 8 games in. Like, if we're going by this metric, he's gonna have 4 more of these type of games. That's insane.
There's actually a pretty defined pattern there. Whereas it's under 100 receiving yard game and then an over 100 receiving yard game. Do you see that?
Oh, yeah. That's
technically over 150 receiving yard game and then under 100 yard game.
That's so weird.
It's very like...
So he's going to have under 100 yards next game.
Fuck!
God damn.
I need to beat... I'm playing the highest, the best record in the league this week, technically. So that's bad.
What you gonna do when they come for you? But yeah, I just wanted to highlight that those 2 receivers, and I also wanted to highlight Bradley Chubb, in which you mentioned earlier. And that's gonna make that defense that much more better and much more elite. And it's just crazy to see where that's gonna go.
Philadelphia, Miami Super Bowl?
Maybe. That would be wild.
A Tua Jalen Hurts Super Bowl?
Oh, that would be crazy too.
That would be insane because they're both from Alabama, and there's this big thing about Alabama quarterbacks just not being successful in the league.
Yeah.
And if they both just make it into the Super Bowl the same year, that'd be...
And wait, and then didn't Tua take Jalen's spot too?
Okay. I wouldn't say take his spot. It's kind of complicated, and also no one really knows because no one really spoke up about it too much. But what happened was both of them were progressing at the same rate, and it was just... I mean, nothing's ever guaranteed in Alabama no matter what. The quarterback room was just unbelievably stacked for no reason.
Because I also had Mac Jones there as well.
Mac Jones was there. And then eventually came Trae Young.
Oh, yeah. Damn. That's
Bryce Young. Why did I say Trey? Bryce Young came around not too shortly after. So Jalen Hurts was like, I'm going to have a better time getting on the field without as much competition if I leave, essentially. Yeah. I'm just going to get more attention just to help my growth. Mm-hmm. Which was smart. It was. And
he went to a top school too.
Yeah, he still went to a very good school. With pretty decent receivers as well. Probably not as good as he would have gone, but still.
Yeah. I thought I had a burp. No. I thought there was a burp in there somewhere. Maybe it's coming. It's coming though. Be prepared.
Why?
But we got the Eagles. destroying the stupid Steelers, 35-13. This is the type of performance that we wanted to see, and it kind of eliminated the naysayers. And one of the biggest qualms for Jalen Hurts this year is that he's not getting that efficiency in the passing game like we would want to see. He's just picking up most of his efficiency on the ground running, and we would like to see him, and I would like to see him pass the ball more and get some of those numbers up, and he did just that. He proved some of those haters wrong. He had 4 touchdowns. 3 of them went to A.J. Brown. A.J. Brown had a freaking game. 6 receptions, 156 yards, I believe. 3 touchdowns. And he had 5 of those receptions, 115 yards, and 3 touchdowns in the first half. And he almost had another touchdown in the second half. And that would have been crazy because he caught that at like the 30-yard line, and he sprinted from like the 30-yard line all the way to the 10-yard line and almost got another touchdown. So that would have been insane. He would have had probably almost 50 fantasy points if he would have gotten that touchdown. He had 39 points in our league, I believe, maybe a little bit less. I think maybe 36 because in my other league he got 39 because it's a point per reception league. That our team went off. We looked good. Our defense looked good. There's a few instances. I explained this on Eagles update, so I'm not gonna go too much in depth. But there's a few drives where we couldn't really stop the run or stop a few plays, which was a little bit concerning. But you know, we've gotten 6 sacks. We got an interception. We got a fumble recovery. And we're not turning the ball over on our offense. So, like, this was basically a flawless game. And this is the type of game that we need the Eagles to do and kind of show the league, hey, we can score in the second half, too. They scored at least 7 points in every single quarter, and they scored 14 points in the second half, which is not a lot, but it's still a decent amount. And they're just trying to prove that, hey, we can score in the second half, and the only reason why we're not scoring in the second half is because we're up by such big margins, and we don't need to really try in the second half, and we can kind of just rest our players. And they did that to the extreme. It's crazy when we're resting our players in week 8, 10 minutes left in the fourth quarter, and we have our entire offense subbed for the second string guys, which is amazing to see. This was a complete dominant performance. I mean, I know we didn't score as many points as the Dallas Cowboys did, but we didn't need to because at one point, like I said earlier, the Cowboys were winning 28-24. So if they didn't score those final points, like, it would have been a lot closer than it would have seen, even though the Cowboys dominated for the first half and the Bears kind of climbed back a little bit. But it just goes to show that we don't really need to play in the second half when we're up by 7, 14 points, 20 points, all in the second quarter. And I said this too in the update, and this is the last thing I'll say about the Eagles. It's crazy because they showed up a graphic. We scored like 115 or something points just in the second quarter alone. And this is before taking in consideration this game, which both numbers would be higher. But we scored like 115 points in the second quarter. And Steelers only scored 108 total points the entire season, all quarters considered, plus they had overtime games. So it's just crazy that we're that efficient in the second quarter, and we're basically we're just like, let's just get it all out of the way in the second quarter and just stop playing. Why would we need to play? Why would we need to play when we can just rest and relax and not risk injury? But yeah, that's all I gotta say.
That's all.
Yeah.
That wasn't that much, dude.
Because
it was a good amount.
Yeah, because the Eagles update is one of those talking ones where I talked into the camera and it wasn't reaction, so I said mostly what I want to.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I was at my dad's house and I didn't film.
Obviously, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I don't really know what to say about this game. I feel like the Pittsburgh offense is kind of in a weird place, and obviously they just traded Chase, and So I think that clearly means that George Pickens has kind of like won over the coaches, which is good. I think that part is good, that they have like a pretty clear idea of where they want to be headed. But at the same time, it's like we had this same fantasization with Chase Claypool that he was like their next receiver for the next couple of years, and then he kind of dipped. Deontay Johnson took over, but now Deontay Johnson is also kind of dipping. It's like there doesn't really seem to be a lot of consistency there, and unfortunately the running game is also very mediocre. Najee Harris started off last season looking really good behind a pretty meh offensive line, actually pretty garbage if we want to go that far. And now he's just like, he doesn't look as confident, he doesn't look well coached either, like he's not taking easy yardage when he has it, and I think he's trying to make something out of nothing, and it's kind of looking rough. He definitely doesn't look like the Heisman candidate he was at that point in Alabama, and I think it really just comes down to like he's obviously playing a different level of defense than he ever has, but he is with a bad offensive line, with a revolving door at quarterback the past 2 seasons. Obviously, we feel like Pickett is going to be the long-term solution, but still, it doesn't help that he's had 3 different quarterbacks to play for, 3 different starting quarterbacks. I hope the best for Najee Harris. He's when he's playing really good, he's one of the most exciting players. But it's going to be interesting to see what they end up doing after the season. I think they kind of admitted defeat with this season. I already said like it's a rebuild season. We're not expecting Tomlin to keep up his streak of winning records. Yeah, I think with like a decent offseason, we can finally get to seeing like what Pickett is really capable of. They just really need to fix that O-line, I think, first and foremost, because there's a lot of good pieces on the defense, but I think there's only so much they can do when the offense is just like kind of being dysfunctional, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I feel like this team could easily get back on their feet, like rebound pretty quick, but they just need like that one off season where they like really get together, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and I feel like they haven't really had that chance yet in the Tomlin reign where it's like a kind of like a true rebuild, because I feel like they had like many ones here and there, but I feel like they just need to have a complete rebuild if they like it or not. Because I
think they let Ben Roethlisberger play a little bit too long. I think they need to start a little sooner. I just feel like sometimes like it doesn't matter what the quarterback thinks if they feel like they're still capable of keeping it going. Sometimes you just gotta tell them like, we need to get started with our rebuild like now while we have all these great pieces, because they do have a lot of great pieces. Dude was getting demolished behind that O-line. It couldn't have been the best way to go out, you know what I mean? They still made it to playoffs, I guess, but regardless, yeah, I just feel like they shot themselves in the foot. And like they're in this position because they kind of delayed the inevitable. Yeah. So anyways, we can move on. I want to talk about the Colts briefly, actually. I will say that Washington kind of surprised me with like how good Heineke like played. It does seem like that locker room really like takes a liking to him for whatever reason. They really respond to him. Obviously, I knew like Terry McLaurin and like the other receivers and like running backs, all very good. I was not underestimating them at all. I know what McLaurin is capable of. But as far as like Heineke and his ability to lead this offense and just like, you know, get around this like really solid Colts defense, I still think it's a very solid defense. I mean, we still held them to only 17 at the end of the day. But he did a really good job, and I gotta give him props. Like, it really, at the end of the day, was just like him versus a 6th round quarterback who has never played a snap in the NFL. Mm-hmm. You know, to me, that's all it really was. Like, if he can play a good amount better than that, then that's all he really needed to win. And like, I'll admit, I underestimated him because I felt like he wasn't capable of doing that against our defense, but he did. So that's what got them that 1-point win. And I'm actually like pretty surprised Sam Ehlinger held up through that game. Like, obviously he wasn't like phenomenal. He had some clips where it was like pretty good, but like at the end of the day, he held up. Like, it's not like he was looking any worse than Matt Ryan did, which is, you know, very low bar, but we got to reset the camera. But basically all I want to say is like, Colts obviously just are like experimenting with some things, trying to get themselves in a more self-assured position for next season, knowing like, okay, we know this is like the floor and the ceiling for our one, not rookie quarterback, but our one quarterback that hasn't played a snap in the NFL. Now we know he's actually capable of. We have some knowledge of that. Now we know. Now that they're firing the offensive coordinator, a lot of the offensive coaches are going to step up and fill that void. So now they know, like, okay, which one of those guys can really step up and like take over. Like, who's going to provide the spark for this team. What worries me is that a lot of this is just like a way to work around keeping Frank Reich in the building, and I don't like that aspect. I think we can easily get rid of Frank Reich, bring in a new coach, and still find a spark within. Like, I don't think we have to clear house. Like, I'm still for it if it comes down to it, but I don't think we have to in order to like really rebound. I think a lot of these great pieces are still very young. We don't have to go full sell mode, and we didn't at the deadline. We only traded Naheem Hines, and I think that was very fair because there's only so many years left he's going to have at being that speedy and that talented of a running back. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I think at the end of the day, like, it was a really good idea to trade him because he earned that respect. So, like, you know, send him off to a contender. He deserves that. And I feel like as far as the other younger talents and the people we just re-signed, like, they can stick around a little longer through the mess because at the end of the day, they also are part of the mess. Like, they aren't excused. A lot of these guys are not even playing up to their rookie contracts. Like, that's how bad it's been. Quentin Nelson has, like, actually left me with, like, my jaw on the floor, like, how miserable that O-line looks. Like, at the beginning of the season, I was like, okay, it's really just left tackle and sometimes right guard. But no, it's, like, really everyone. Even Ryan Kelly. Well, especially Ryan Kelly. But even Quentin Nelson, even Braden Smith. It's miserable. I really hope that O-line coach gets fired eventually, but we'll see. That's all I gotta say.
Just a hard reset. Press the reset button. Reset. And I thought the Colts were going to win this game. I kind of just started to do my homework and kind of just ignored the kind of last second games. And then I turned it on and I saw that Washington won, and I was so confused about how they won because, like, it was like a minute left or something, and I was like, oh, Washington has the ball or whatever. And I just thought that they wouldn't be able to get a touchdown. And before I knew it, I saw the score. But yeah, the NFC East division is crazy. It has 23 total wins, which is also I think the most since 2002, and then 8-game stretch, which is also crazy, where we have a 7-0 team, 2 6-2 teams, and 1 4-4 team. And even though I still want the Eagles to lose maybe 1 or 2 games, just to kind of humble themselves, we're kind of in a position now, even though we're about, I think, 2 games ahead, 1 game ahead, 2 games ahead. Yeah, 2 games ahead of both the Giants and the Cowboys. We're still in a position where the Cowboys and or Giants legitimately have a chance of getting the first place and number 1 seed. So I know the Eagles are still undefeated, but I still want the Eagles to win and get these easy wins just to give that gap so we can lose later in the league and not worry too much about not getting the first place and winning the division. But yeah, it was a tough battle. But yeah, I don't really got much to say about this game other than I was shocked that Washington won this game. But yeah, we got San Francisco 49ers versus the LA Rams. The 49ers took control of this game and pretty much dominated the Rams. And Christian McCaffrey went off. He's one of 3 players, I believe. I think the other 2 is the Damian Tomlinson and Walter Payton to have a passing, rushing, and receiving touchdown in a singular game. And for some reason, when he had that passing, throwing touchdown, I had a gut feeling of he's going to get a receiving and rushing. I don't know why. I just felt it. I was like, and especially after he got that receiving touchdown, I'm like, ain't no way they're not going to not give him a rushing touchdown, or at least try to get him a rushing touchdown. But yeah, it was just a crazy game by him. You got any opinions on a masterful artistry by Christian McCaffrey?
Well, I don't really care for the Christian McCaffrey part. Like, obviously, he played great. That's not what I kind of, let's say, was the most interested by. It's not the part I was most interested by.
Interesting.
It was actually, the fact that I was right about San Francisco's dominance over the Rams and just held on to that vote, that prediction.
Oh, yeah.
Whereas you did say the Rams, and I said, no, they're not going to play good against the 49ers. They've looked garbage all season. What's going to change against the 49ers, who they historically have a really bad time against? And you said, division, I guess.
That sounds like me. But yeah, I do remember that. And that bit me in the face.
Oh, one thing I do want to go back to before we go any further is we made these predictions.
Oh, yeah.
In the previous games where you said Justin Jefferson would get 126 receiving yards and 2 touchdowns. He did not get a single touchdown.
And or he did not come close to 126 yards.
Well, I don't know how many yards he got. Maybe like 80. Let's find out. He'll search it, but in the meantime, I do want to say
98.
that not only was I right in predicting the Patriots would win against the Jets, which you didn't agree with, but I was also right that they would intercept Zach Wilson 3 times. I said this. I said they will intercept him 3 times, and they did.
That blew my mind when you texted me that too. And Sunday I was like, holy shit, you're correct. What the fuck? Because I had to like double check it and make sure that, because like I forgot, but like I forgot the exact prediction. I was like, ain't no way. And then he sent me a screenshot of like Wilson's 3 interceptions, and then I looked at the predictions, and then I also remembered as well. I was like, holy shit, like that's insane.
Yeah.
You're a god.
I am.
You're a time traveler.
But anyways, Rams are looking bad. They needed to do something at the trade deadline. They did not. So now I think their last hope to like bring that spark back is re-signing OBJ. Once he's healed up, people are saying December.
Yeah.
That's their last hope right there. It really falls on that. Otherwise, I do not see this team even coming close to returning to the Super Bowl or even the NFC Championship or even just
playoffs.
I think they'll be a wild card at the end of the day. I think they'll bounce back to at least being a wild card. But winning a playoff game, I don't know.
Hey, my record. Wait. My prediction about the Rams is
it's shaping up.
It's shaping up, and I said, hey, the Rams aren't going to be as good as the Super Bowl year, and they could be a lot worse. And it's
You were dead wrong about the Giants, though. Look at that.
Yeah. I don't think anyone was expecting that, which is kind of makes me
feel. Yeah, but you said 5-12. Damn.
Cause Cause like what can you expect about the Giants? Huh? They've been bad
and then
since
the
2016.
Seahawks. You said 2-15. Okay, that's actually worse. He said Seahawks would go 2-15. Right now they're at 5-3.
Yeah. But okay.
Wild.
Yeah, I got everything that I needed to say out against the Rams. Seahawks versus the Giants.
Yeah, Giants.
Giants are
literally
frauds.
just the 2 teams we were just talking about. That's funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, Giants.
They're frauds. I've been telling you guys, they're frauds. No one wants to listen to me because they think I'm dumb or something. But no, I actually know what I'm talking about. The Giants ain't shit. They just got lucky and they were able to come back from 10 points in 4 games this year in the 4th quarter. That's unheard of. When was the last time that happened? Never. I'm correct about things occasionally. No, I don't know why I went in on that tangent, but yeah, I just don't think I think the Giants are a lot better than they've been the past few years. I think they're really shaping up for the next like 3 or 4 years to actually be good if they make a couple good moves. But yeah, they just got exposed this game, and yeah, Seahawks look like they're contenders in this league or in the NFC, at least a lot better. They're looking a lot better than most of the NFC teams right now, which is crazy to see.
Yeah. Next game we had was Buffalo and Green Bay.
So I put this as one of mine just because I don't have too much to say other than Green Bay Packers just aren't playing as they should, and this is kind of the performance that I was expecting out of this game. Kind of a dominant performance by Buffalo Bills. And yeah, Buffalo Bills are looking really scary. And Buffalo Bills played a lot better teams and beaten a lot better teams. But honestly, right now, just because of how everyone else is playing, I think I have a feeling it's going to be like a Bills-Eagles type of Super Bowl, because I think there's no one in the NFC right now that can really play up to the Eagles level, even though the Eagles have been playing easy teams. The large part, I think that's just because of they're playing NFC teams in which aren't as good. And yeah, I just don't see any I don't know. I just have a gut feeling about it, and I also don't see any scenario where it's not like at least Eagles and Buffalo Bills make it to the championship games of the AFC and NFC. It's just they're looking like both of the dominant teams right now, and it's crazy to see. It reminds me of the Colts and the Saints back in 2009.
What else?
It was just like two dominant teams bashing it out in the Super Bowl.
I think the Buffalo Bills got 1,000 times better by acquiring Nyheim Hines.
Yes.
And I really do say this just because, like, I don't think he's going to add much more to the rushing game aspect, but he's a good special teamer, which I feel like all Super Bowl teams need to be at least consistent on special teams. And he can have an explosive play on special teams every now and then, which if you get one of those in the playoffs, that is so huge. And I don't know if they have that sort of playmaker on their special teams just yet. And if they did, I think they're getting a better one in Nyheim Hines anyways. And then he can also do that on the offensive side. He's a great check down target, whereas I don't really feel like the tight ends as check downs targets have really been stepping up, and I don't think any of their running backs have really been great receiving backs either. Nyheim Hines is like, that's all he really did with the Colts. Like, yeah, he played some rushing snaps, just like mix it up, give Jonathan Taylor some relief, but what he was really like made to do was like kind of like roll out wide, get past you on a really quick release, and then he could just like run right by everyone down the sideline for a touchdown. He did that twice in one game back when we had Phillip Rivers, and he did the backflips and all that. And that was like his peak. But ever since, like, we haven't really been able to utilize him in the same way just because we're always playing from behind, or like once it's just bad at taking check downs, and then yeah, it's just been a fucking clusterfuck the past few seasons, and we haven't been able to utilize him in the same way. And so Frank Reich admitted, like, yeah, basically it's time for him to go. He's better off somewhere else and with a contender. So I'm happy for him there. It's going to be a very interesting playoffs to see, to watch him do that shit.
I agree. He's an exciting guy to watch.
Then we have the Browns and the Bengals. All I want to say here is Bengals drastically miss Jamar Chase.
Yeah.
Because as soon as Jamar Chase isn't there,
they suck.
It's just like they can put more guys in the box to just blitz Joe Burrow, and the offensive line is exposed. Because they don't have to worry about like doing all this like crazy zone coverage to like to make sure that Jamar Chase isn't getting thrown to. It's insane. Whereas on the Browns, they got Chubb going off. Hunt is relieving him pretty like he's probably one of the better like number 2 running backs in the league right now, I would say. He hasn't been as great as past seasons, but it's still really good. And Jacoby Brissett also looked pretty good. Like, he's not the greatest, but he's leading the team.
Yeah, Jamar Chase is the entire Bengals offense. That's all I gotta say. And yeah, Cincinnati Bengals can't really beat the Browns in the past couple of years. But fuck the Browns. Fuck football. Let's get to the MVP race.
It's time for the MVP race. For those of you who don't know, the MVP race is when we go over the best quarterbacks who I believe are going to win the MVP, but I also sprinkle in some positional MVPs just for the sake of showing the love. Right now, I think the best defensive player from the past, I guess 8 weeks now, is someone that I feel like isn't getting a lot of love. Because in the past, I said people like Sauce Gardner, Nick Bosa, Micah Parsons, right? All these people, we know. We've heard it in the media. One guy that's not getting talked enough in the media is Darius Smith. When we look at this Vikings team that is now 6-1, we have to understand, like, yes, that comes from the offensive side for sure, but there has to be some element on the defense that is making that happen. And I'm telling you, it's 100% Darius Smith. All right? He's down a game. All right? He's down a game, but he, compared to like most of the other edge rushers in the league who have played 8 games and haven't had their bye week yet, but he's still first in sacks, first in tackles for loss, and he's tied 7th in quarterback hits.
That's crazy.
Plus, I have a note here.
Ooh, I like a good note.
He's on pace for 20.5 sacks, which anytime you get over 20 is insane, which would only be 3rd in Vikings franchise history.
That's crazy.
For reference, Aaron Donald has yet to hit 20.5.
That's insane.
And yet, it's only 3rd in Vikings franchise history because in 1989, Chris Dolman had 21. And in 2011, Jared Allen, who just got inducted into the Ring of Honor, had 22.
That's crazy.
So what a franchise for sacks. Yeah, big win against Kyler Murray. And that's the thing. That's the other part of it. Is like, okay, the last time he had like a 2 or 3 sack game or whatever he had, it was against like Matt Ryan with the Falcons. And like, that's a very different story than sacking Kyler Murray that amount of times.
Yeah.
All right. That's insane. So gotta give props to Darius Smith not being talked about enough. All right. Then we got a returning wide receiver candidate because it's really the only wide receiver I think is even worth talking about to this degree, and it's Tyreek Hill. He's first in all-purpose yards. First in all-purpose yards, more than any running back.
That's crazy.
He hasn't yet gotten to be first in all-purpose yards yet this season, but now he is. Before it was like Chubb and Saquon Barkley were like beating him out barely, but now Tyreek Hill has actually surpassed them.
And just receiving. I mean, I guess
basically just receiving. He barely does any rushing plays. But sometimes he does, but I don't think any of them have been like crazy, right? He's also still first in receptions, obviously still first in receiving yards. He has 69 receptions, nice. First in targets, 92, and first in first downs, receiving first downs, 41. So he's crazy, man. That's all I gotta say. And then my surprise running back MVP is actually Derrick Henry. Maybe a little bit of a surprise. We've been talking a lot about Chubb and Barkley. But I feel like Derrick Henry has really just been the only offensive piece on the Titans that has been worth a damn. Whereas like on the Browns, you know, you still got Amari Cooper, Kareem Hunt can relieve Nick Chubb when he needs to. Jacoby Brissett hasn't been that bad. Donovan Peoples-Jones has actually stepped up, right? Then on the Giants side, it's like, yeah, you know, they still have a pretty good scheme where Daniel Jones can get involved. He's still like pretty efficient. But Derrick Henry is literally the only reason why Titans are winning games on the offensive side. All right? Straight up. He's also down a game because he had an early bye. But he's still first in attempts, 166. Third in rushing touchdowns with 7. And third in rushing yards with 755. So once he evens it up with like Saquon Barkley and Nick Chubb, as far as like games, once they get through their byes, I can imagine him leading the league in rushing yards yet again, which is wild, which is like, someone stop him. Someone. King Henry. Then as far as quarterbacks, Lamar Jackson, I had to actually bring him down to 8th ranked, just because like he only had a decent performance, and I've been needing him to have like a better one than this. And then Tua Tagovailoa had a really great performance against Detroit, so I had to put him up, basically. He has, even though he's down like 2.5 games than Lamar Jackson, he has more passing yards.
That's insane.
With a better completion percent, better accuracy, longer yards per completion, better passer rating, all of it. All right. Obviously, Lamar Jackson has the rushing element, which he is the best in the league at that part. But still, when we're talking about quarterbacks, you have to take passing into consideration, and Tua is doing that. Then at number 6, he kind of remained just at that point. Geno Smith, they beat the Giants, so good on him. They are leaning a lot on rushing still, but I also believe that Geno Smith has been very efficient for the amount of for the volume he has, which is like very good. And he only has 3 interceptions, so I feel like it's one of the lower. He's not as volatile as some of these other quarterbacks with a lot of volume. So Geno Smith is like a real candidate. Like he's still very much behind, I think, this top 5, but like if they start slumping just a little and Geno Smith keeps at this rate, I wouldn't be surprised if we start talking about Geno Smith being an actual MVP candidate. That's all I'm saying. Justin Herbert remains. He had a bye week. Nothing important there. Joe Burrow lost, and pretty badly. So I had to keep him there. He himself didn't have a bad game. It was just the fact that he couldn't get anything going because of sacks. But as far as like completion, getting the completions, getting the yardage, it wasn't that bad. It really just came down to scoring. They couldn't do that. That's all I like really fault Joe Burrow for. But at the same time, anytime you have your leading receiver out, that first game is always going to be hard to work around. So I don't think too much about it. Then the big surprise on this list is that I got way too indecisive and I gave up on trying to rank this top 3 and Patrick Mahomes, Jalen Hurts, and Josh Allen. So they're all tied for first. Because any one of them would easily be the MVP in any of these past seasons. Especially last season where Aaron Rodgers got it just because, like, why not? He's Aaron Rodgers. No one else was doing any better. Any 3 of these performances so far would be, like, unanimous MVPs compared to his MVP season last year. So Patrick Mahomes leading the league in passing touchdowns with 20. He just had a bye week. Jalen Hurts leading these quarterbacks in touchdown to interception ratio with 5 because he's only thrown 2 interceptions. He hasn't lost a fumble. That's insane. The fact that he's protecting the ball that much. It's worth noting. And then he also has the rushing touchdown aspect. He has the rushing aspect going for him, basically. Not to the degree of Lamar Jackson, but still very effective. Plus, their running game without Jalen Hurts is still very good. So, like, why put your quarterback in that harmful of a position, right? And then you got Josh Allen, who's just, like, well-rounded. He's actually, like, not really leading the quarterbacks in any specific category, but he's still a very well-rounded guy. The interception part is a little worrying. He has 6. But I'll excuse him just because he is at such a massive volume. And he is scoring so much more. So it's like, it's excusable, basically, the turnover aspect. Yeah, that's really all I have to say.
I'm giddy. I'm giddy about John Hurts. He's so good.
He really is, like, a prime candidate.
Yeah.
Like, at this point, it really just comes down to who can keep this up, because 2 of these guys are not going to be able to keep up these numbers.
Yeah,
these are not sustainable, but one of these guys could.
And it's crazy to think about. But yeah, I agree with you. It's crazy what these 3 quarterbacks are doing in this league, and yeah, it's just a high performance all the way around. And the thing that impresses me the most, and the last thing I would say, is that completion percentage for Jalen Hurts. He's among the top. He's what? He's 3rd? 4th. Wait. 3rd. Wait, no. That one. So yeah, he's 4th right now, or at least on this list in completion percentage, which was the biggest flaw of his play, and he's fixed it. I don't know if it's 100% fixed because there's still some passes that he's shouldn't be making, like simple passes that he should not be making, and he's still underthrowing some of the receivers, in which if you got AJ Brown, he's gonna catch, like, nonetheless, which is a little bit worrying. But yeah, that's literally the biggest thing that he fixed, and yeah, it shows that, I don't know, he's a lot more accurate.
One random stat that actually doesn't relate to quarterbacks that I found while researching this, I was looking at just, like, some random tight end stats. Dallas Goedert is, like, top 10 in yards after the catch. He knew he is averaging 10 yards after every catch.
That's insane.
Which is wild. I've never seen it that high for a tight end.
It's because all those screens that he's doing. It's crazy the setup that he has, and he's the ability to, like, run after the catch and his, like, field vision after those screens, because those screens aren't easy to get through.
Because usually we see that for like really speedy wide receivers like Tyreek Hill or like running backs that get those early checkdowns and then they go really far, right? Like we see those coming, but for a tight end to be doing that is really crazy.
Chef's kissed.
So yeah, let's talk about that Philadelphia Eagles team and how they're gonna lose to the Houston Texans and get embarrassed prime time while they're trying to win the World Series, but then fail to, and it's going to be the worst day in Philadelphia history.
If that happens,
Philadelphia sports history.
if that sequence happens, I don't think I would be able to talk to you for at least 3 days.
Me? Why me specifically?
Because you put in the atmosphere and it existed.
Listen, I just got ahead of the news cycle. I guarantee you the entire news cycle is going to be talking about it.
Yeah. I don't know.
Tomorrow, that is.
Yeah.
If the Phillies win today, then that's all they're going to be talking about tomorrow.
Yeah. You're a genius. You're a news genius. You know that? That CBS internship got you.
The funny thing is I didn't even work with like the news aspect. I just made cool graphics.
Yeah. Guess how many points are favored? The Eagles.
Probably like 1 million. 20?
Oh.
Close?
14.
Oh.
Yeah.
I guess I'm thinking more like college football.
Yeah.
Like when the number one in the not in the league, what do you call it? Nation. Let's just say nation. When the number one in the nation is like playing like a non-Power 5 team, it's like 28 plus 28 plus 30.
Yeah.
So yeah, NFL is very different. Less room for error. So yeah, 14 makes sense.
Like 14 is huge for, I feel like, for the NFL, because usually the most I usually hear is like 8, 9, maybe 10.
Yeah.
And it's 14.
You know, the Colts are also similarly favored that much when they played the Jaguars last year at the very end of the season.
I want to pretend you didn't say that. We don't speak of that ever. But yeah, this makes me nervous because this is definitely a trap game. And just from what Titus has said, if the Eagles lose and the Phillies lose, in which they could have like win the World Series, hopefully they win tonight to have that heightened dramatic effect, in which I think will happen because it's in the script. It's in the football script. It's one of the few times when professional sports script writers actually included some elements of different professional sporting leagues. So I think the Phillies will maybe win tonight, just for that dramatic effect, for a little bit more money. But yeah, is it going to be worth it after the Phillies and Eagles win and destroy the city of Philadelphia? I don't know. I think it's going to be worth it. For the taxpayers,
I'm like so... I really do want to change... I did have the Eagles. Predicted the Eagles, right? But I want to change it so bad.
change it, no balls.
I'll do them.
Damn, he actually changed it.
I'll change it just because I'm not hoping for like the double loss on Thursday. I'm hoping that they win the World Series and that can kind of like cover up the embarrassment of the fact that they just lost to the Texans.
Yeah.
Philadelphia can still have a reason to celebrate. And that way you get the embarrassing loss out of the way because it's bound to happen this season. It's going to. So like might as well do it on the day that at least you won in a different sport like league. You know what I mean? Like let's just cover that loss up and just celebrate baseball. And then we can go on to the next primetime game and you don't even gotta worry. It's fine. So yeah.
This is going to be one of the first times where I don't watch a full Eagles game. One of the few instances where I don't. Solely because I want to be celebrating in center after the Phillies win the World Series and drunk out of my mind, bro. No, I'm just joking. But
watch get rained out.
Dude, I would be so mad. But the weather in Philly right now is really good. It's like 70s. It's supposed to be 70s the next few days. But yeah, looking forward to it. But yeah, we can move on now. Green Bay Packers first. Detroit Lions.
Shoutouts.
I got Packers.
I got Detroit. Back-to-back disputes.
Damn.
So I understand where you're coming from. I can just guess. It's like the Lions can't get a dub, lol. And also Packers are bound to get a win eventually. Like they just gotta get it back. But I think just from the very fact that I'm looking at this and like the Packers aren't getting going on offense, that's worrying because the Lions' weakest part, the weakest link, is the defense. So I think that's like even playing field there. And then from what the Lions' offense is able to do, I am not confident in the Green Bay defense to actually like contain it.
Oh, that is true.
So I think that matchup alone is like it actually like unironically favors the Lions.
Yeah, I can see that.
I understand why Green Bay would be favored. It's Aaron Rodgers, all that shit. I would say like coaching's more consistent, all that, and like Lions can't secure a game, blah 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 blah. All very good reasons, but also I would say like they both are like due for a win, and I don't know. I think it could go either way.
Yeah. Now that you're saying that, that makes a lot of sense, and I could see the Lions beating the Packers. Do you like my little playing in the spreadsheet?
Wait, what'd you do?
Never mind. I thought you saw it.
Okay.
I was just trying to annoy you in the spreadsheet. But yeah. You just literally listed everything that I was about to say of why I think the Packers are gonna win. I just think, I don't know, they're bound to have a comeback win, and I think this is one of the best opportunities for them. I know that like the 3 games previously before the Buffalo Bills, I think they lost to like the Commanders. They lost to, I'm trying to remember a couple other teams, but it was like some backup like QBs or like barely started QBs in this league. So I think it's very doable for the Lions, but I don't know. I'm just after this, if the Packers lose this game, I just don't think that they're going to rebound after it and just lose out, like, or have a very hard time, or they're at the very least not in the playoffs if they lose this.
Yeah, I mean, I think they can still make it back just because NFC LMAO. And, you know, it's just like, I think they're bound to just get some, like, easy wins later. I think they could be down 3-6 and still make it back. But the big thing would be if they lose this game, I do feel like, okay, that's it. It's past the trade deadline. There's nothing that can tell me that they're actually like a Super Bowl team anymore.
Yeah.
Like I don't think there's any like chance for redemption unless they sign OBJ randomly in December. But that'd be a weird pairing. I also like Detroit at home. I think that aspect is helpful. I think Green Bay will end up winning against the Lions later down the line once they're in their own stadium, but for this one, I just got Detroit.
Yeah. New England Patriots versus the Indianapolis Colts. I got the Patriots.
Yeah, Patriots. We don't have to talk about that.
Okay.
I just want the Colts to lose. I don't want the Patriots to win, obviously. Fuck the Patriots, but I don't care for the Colts winning anymore. Fuck it. I don't care. I hope Sam Ehlinger doesn't get 3 interceptions like Zach Wilson so I can be like, hey, at least we're better than the guy that was taken. What was he taking? Like number 2 overall? Yeah. Haha, get fucked.
Yeah, fuck you.
No matter what, he's probably going to get demolished. That defense is too scary. I don't see any chance for the Colts winning this unless defense just like gets 3 pick sixes against Mac Jones, which I'll take it. But yeah.
Yeah.
Just give me the high draft pick, please.
Yeah, they definitely will benefit from losing the rest of their games. The Colts will.
Lose out?
Yeah, lose out.
Except for the Eagles?
No. No. I'm fine with losing to the Colts.
Cool.
Los Angeles Chargers versus the Atlanta Falcons. I got the Chargers. Honestly, I could see this game going either way. No,
yeah, Falcons are so scary, but I think it's one of those things where Chargers, like our expectations of the Chargers is that they should be over 0.500, and the expectations of Falcons is they should be under 0.500. So I think this game will like even that out. Like Atlanta will now be 4-5, Chargers will now be 5-3 instead of 4-4. So it's like, I think it's just the perfect chance to like bring back the status quo, basically. Yeah. But I think realistically this could be a shootout, like a really close, high-scoring game.
Yeah, I hope Eckler gets a lot of points in this game.
Why? You have Eckler?
In my second draft.
I don't. I don't.
Do you play it? Oh, you play Eckler. Oh, he plays Eckler in our draft.
Yeah, no thanks.
But yeah, that's all I gotta say. Miami Dolphins versus the Chicago Chicago Bears. I got Miami.
Yeah, give me the Miami Dolphins over the Chicago Bears just because that they just traded away the Chicago just traded away their two best defensive players and now are facing the
Bradley Chubb.
well, not Bradley Chubb, but Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle. We're talking about that side of the ball.
Oh yeah.
But also, yeah, on the other side of the ball, you have Justin Fields, who is looking better, but still is now going to have to develop a new rapport with another wide receiver. It's still like kind of shaky there. And Bradley Chubb is just going to be like...
fucking all the haters.
He's going to fuck the haters?
Yeah.
All right. Next one, we got Cincinnati Bengals versus the Carolina Panthers. I
got the Bengals. I don't know why, but I kind of want to switch to the Panthers. I don't know why.
It'd be hilarious. I think actually the Panthers defense isn't too bad and they can give Burrow himself a hard time. And then on the other side of the ball, just seeing how Chubb ran all over the Bengals and Deontay Foreman has been looking like a menace. I think it's possible. I really do. Like, sadly. But I think Burrow's going to have a bounce back game. I think like it's not going to be the same repeated failure. Yeah, change it. Why not?
I changed my pick, and this is the upset of the week because I have not gotten an upset of the week this week. Well, I guess 2 games down below, but
what I do think could happen is Carolina isn't necessarily good at stopping the run either, and so Joe Mixon is going to help. He's going to like finally like step up.
Yeah. Ingredients for an upset here.
For sure. And then in the game of the week, the Jets versus the Bills. Never thought I'd say this, but like this is going to be a good matchup. I don't have a lot of confidence in Zach Wilson per se, but I do feel like they have the elements to make this a close game. All right, Bills are going to win though.
Yeah, I think the Bills defense is going to pick apart.
You'll get there.
Pick apart the Jets or Zach Wilson, and yeah, I just feel like it's going to be like another 3 interception game for Zach Wilson. And I just feel like the Bills defense is dangerously scary. And yeah, I don't know. Without Breece Hall, it's what do the Jets have, huh? No one.
You're so right, dude.
My second upset of the week, Washington.
Yeah, I don't have anything else to say. Minnesota and Washington. Kirk Cousins is going to be returning to Washington.
Yeah. And
Heineke is going to destroy him, right?
Yes. This is my...
No.
Yes.
Minnesota's too good. I'm sorry.
This was my original upset of the week because you know how I usually have 1 upset per week? Now I have 2 upsets this week.
We already have 4 disputes. Yeah. This is also like... It's only a 13-game week, whereas like last week we only had 3 disputes, and this week we have 4 already. Let's see if we can keep it going.
This could make or break our records. And
oh yeah, you could pull ahead so easily.
Or you could pull ahead by 2.
Yeah, by a little. Like I feel like it would still just even it up at that point.
Yeah.
But well, we'll see. Jacksonville, Las Vegas. You say Jacksonville?
Yeah, Jacksonville.
I actually have Las Vegas, so that's another dispute. That's another one.
I don't know why, but
I think it could.
I guess this is like a mini upset, but I don't know. After the performance that the Las Vegas had last game against the Saints, it's just not looking good for them. And their offense, I don't know. Like Devontae Adams is not looking good, and they're just not able to play offensively sound as a lot of people thought that they would be with Darren Waller as well and Josh Jacobs. I mean, Josh Jacobs has been going off the last few games other than the previous week, but I don't know. It's just not there.
But what I will say is the Jaguars defense is not the Saints defense whatsoever. Saints defense is good. All right. Yeah. Let's just establish that. All right. Mm-hmm. Saints defense is great. Jaguars defense, inconsistent. Not a fan. I do feel like Vegas may have a hard time continuing to run with Etienne if he has a good game. But other than that, I'm not really scared of Trevor Lawrence against them. Rocky Sin has played him so many times. He's going to cover that easily. Obviously, maybe he doesn't have the best track record with the Colts, considering, you know, they always lose in Jacksonville, which is where he's going to be returning. But this is his chance for redemption. He's going to win this for Indianapolis, baby. Let's go.
Yeah, let's go, baby.
Let's go, Rocky Sin. Next game, we have Seahawks and the Cardinals.
I got the Seahawks.
I actually have the Cardinals.
What, three straight disputes? 4 out of the last 5 games are disputes. This is going to wreck one of us. This week is going to wreck. I have a feeling it's going to wreck our
Unless we go even in disputes.
That is true. That's going to be crazy. I don't know. This is going to be such an exciting week. But I feel like it's going to backfire for me. I don't know why. The only thing that I'm feeling confident this week is the Eagles, but the reason why I have the Seahawks is because they're heating up, and the Cardinals are inconsistent, or they're just good enough to get close to beating a team, but making a few mistakes. And I think the biggest reason why is because Murray and their coach, their disputes is too much, and I think that's disrupting the team and making them play this poorly, even though they should be playing a lot better than they are.
All right, yeah. I think, I don't know. I think it'll just be one of those divisional games with the Cardinals. Just kind of surprise people and be like, oh, wait, they can win. Wow. Not to say that they haven't been winning. I mean, they still got the 3 wins, but yeah, I think it's just going to make things interesting in the NFC West. And, you know, DeAndre Hopkins has been looking really good, too. It'll be interesting to see that matchup. I don't know. Will they put Tariq Woolen on him? That'd be crazy. Yeah, I'm excited to see what happens here.
Yeah. Tampa Bay versus the Rams.
So, I have the Rams. Caleb has the Bucks.
I just want to go back and just make the rest disputes.
But the issue with this one is, like, I really don't have a good reason to choose either of them. I feel like, honestly, I want to say tie because neither of them deserve at this current point to win against each other. They're so underwhelmingly bad. Whereas in the past, this would be like an NFC championship matchup. Now it feels more like an NFC wild card that everyone would rather
not see.
Watch on the Nickelodeon channel and just get really drunk and just be like, oh, this is so stupid. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
That's so funny. But yeah, that's literally the perfect way to describe it because that's literally how I feel. Mm-hmm. But you got Kansas City Chiefs versus the Tennessee Titans. I got the Chiefs. Pretty sure you got the Chiefs as well.
I would never choose the Titans.
I was going to say, the day that you choose the Titans is the day that the world explodes.
Yeah, Chiefs, baby. They're going to advance to 6-2. Titans will be 5-3. Titans are in a good spot to win the division. They're definitely the favorites. Yeah, I don't see any of us actually like pulling ahead.
Imagine Houston comes out of nowhere.
Yeah, Titans are going to win the division straight up.
Yeah.
But Jacksonville just... If any of us pull ahead, it will shake the league. It'll be the craziest thing.
Dude, it's gonna be the Texans. Watch out. But the last game is Baltimore versus the Saints. I got the Saints. Or I got the Ravens, because the Saints are bad.
I was tempted to choose the Saints, but I do have the Ravens. I think this could be one of those games that I think the Saints could easily win this. I'm not even going to say like they would just like have to like really clutch it out or anything like that. No, I think they could easily win this because Ravens have had a lot of struggles that have been very apparent. And I think Saints' struggles have been like very easy to fix. And I think if they just like whip it together a little bit, they'll be fine. But I mainly just want Ravens to win because I need Lamar Jackson to go off this week. Other than that, I'd probably choose the Saints.
Yeah. Fuck the Saints.
Fuck them.
Yeah. They won last week. They shouldn't. Dude, Saints, what did I tell you?
You're right, yeah. For the sake of the Eagles' first draft pick, I will say Saints lose. That's the main reason.
Yeah.
That's the main reason I want them to lose, or I have the Ravens winning. Also, I don't know. I want Ravens to bounce back a little. I want them to have a little redemption. Like that game against Tampa Bay, it didn't like yeah, they won in primetime, sure, but it didn't like fill me with a lot of like, damn, they're back, you know?
Yeah.
Because it's Tampa Bay, whatever. But and not to say like Saints are any better or in any better position, but if the Ravens can have a really solid game against them, whereas like consistent all the way through, in back-to-back primetime games, I'd be like, all right, Ravens are back, baby. They look like how they start off the year. Lamar Jackson MVP.
Yes, baby.
So yeah, that's all.
Speaking of Lamar Jackson, just to end the episode, and fantasy, I beat Trey. 5-3, top of the division with Brendan. 4th most points in our league. Good time to be alive. Got anything to say about fantasy, or are we good?
Do you want me to say something?
Yeah, because it's like it's in the contract, you know. Like
I don't think it is actually for me to talk about fantasy.
Bro, It was like in a 1-point font. In no, I'm just joking.
The fine print.
The fine print. No, I'm just joking.
Yeah, I won this week, but it was disgraceful. My team has been so underwhelming, but it's a win's a win.
Wins. But yeah, see you guys. Bye. See ya sometime.